Hello everybody, welcome to another video today. I'm sorry I haven't been posting much recently. I've been stuck in LSAT hell the past little bit. LSAT hell, ladies and gentlemen. I've been taking a course to prepare myself for the LSAT. Very excited for that. I'm hoping that it's gonna go well. Been practicing real hard. Gotten up to like about a 160, 165-ish average. I'm hoping to push higher. I need to get higher.
Give me that 170.
But I also did something else, and that was watch the entirety of the Avatar, the animated series, okay? I watched every episode. What's up with my hair? It's so bothersome today. Also, look at this ponytail. Look at this paid actor ass pony. But I watched all of Avatar, the animated series. I watched all of Avatar, The Legend of Korra. I watched them, okay? I watched them all. And I think I've also officially found the worst fandom on the internet. Oh my god, the takes, dude. The opinions that people have on the show are so fundamentally flawed. I think this is just merely because a lot of people watch the show obviously when they were kids, and then they're trying to remember what they thought when they were kids. And when you're a kid, you're a fucking moron. So they're just parroting their fucking moronic takes from when they were kids, and then they're shouting them out to the internet as a whole, and it is exhausting. But yeah, today I have a bit of a lampooning to do of the Avatar fandom. You've seen the title. You guys are the worst fandom on the internet, and I have undeniable proof of this fact. You see, I watched all of Avatar, The Last Airbender. Great show. I love the show. Amazing show. And I noticed as I was watching it, you know, because our phones are always listening to us, I started being shown things on Twitter. Arguments and discussions of the Avatar fandom. Insane fucking arguments and discussions from the Avatar fandom, by the way. We have things such as, why Uncle Iroh is a war criminal. He's a general in a war. That doesn't... Look, I'm not saying that he didn't. I'm just saying that we don't have evidence. We could just shout that out into the ether. Do you know what we do have kind of evidence of a war criminal behavior? Fucking Ozai. He literally burned the fucking planet. And do you know who suggested that idea to him? Azula. A child. That's crazy to me. When I was watching the show, a lot of conversation happens about Azula in specific. Azula is a great character. A little terrible trio of Mai, Ty Lee, and Azula. Hilarious, fantastic, perfect execution of a villain. There's a lot of conversation, though, of does Azula deserve to be redeemed? And I don't think Azula's ready for redemption at all. In fact, I read a bit up on the comics, and Azula goes through an attempted redemption arc, but at the end rejects the redemption because Azula doesn't want redemption. Azula is perfectly happy and content being a shitty person. And honestly, Yas Queen. Girl boss. Like, obviously she can be redeemed, but deserves is weird. Even from that argument comes a lot of arguments from weird places. They go, well, Uncle Iroh was redeemed. And I'm like, we don't even know the bad things that Uncle Iroh did other than fight in a war and lay siege to Ba Sing Se. Uncle Iroh war crimes. I don't even know if he committed war crimes. He's on the wrong side of history. That's fair. Laying siege to Ba Sing Se, that was bad. He shouldn't have done that. That's the wrong thing to do. He should have been a good boy. But if the argument is Azula should be redeemed because Iroh was, and Iroh committed war crimes, wasn't me. Either way, point being, this argument, in my opinion, is all well and fine. Many good points to be made on this behalf. But you know something. A lot of talk about The Last Airbender happens. The Legend of Korra discourse is dumber. There are several reasons for this. One, there's a lot of talk when people talk about like the actions of the avatars. Who's like the worst avatar? That conversation comes up a lot with Legend of Korra because like you get to meet a few more of them. You get to meet Wan, the first avatar. You get to meet Kora, the one who everybody hates on the internet. And one of the statements that people levy at Korra is she let the past lives die. She let them die. Now, I watched that scene when the past lives died. As far as I could tell, Korra was getting the shit kicked out of her. I don't think, and as a result of that ass whooping, that's why the past lives were lost, was because, you know, she got her ass kicked. Now I have a question for all those who are of the stance that she let the past lives die. If, for example, if a hitman broke into your house and killed your family, did you let that happen? Did you let the hitman kill your family? Or did the hitman kill your family? Or let's say, for example, you're on the highway and you're driving safely, and then a semi-truck T-bones you. Why would you let that happen? How could you let this happen? How could you let the car T-bone? So dumb. Korra got her ass beat and the past lives were lost as a result. I think a lot of people also, when looking at Avatar Korra, and Korra as a whole in her story, they make a fundamental misstep when looking at her character. At the beginning of the story, we see young Korra. You know, she's a toddler. She's got a pot belly because she's a fucking stupid kid, and she's using the elements. A lot of people will then take from this her mastering the elements from a young age. That is dumb. Because that's not what mastering is. We see what mastering is in the show. Mastery is not capability. It is a level of competence. We see that Jinora had to go through so much to be declared a master of airbending. Saying that she mastered it at that time, she didn't master it. Your argument's invalid from the start.
What?
That is the world that Korra must deal with, and her arc is all about that. And all of this, though, all of this would just be the sign of a typical, stereotypical fandom. Fundamental lack of understanding of the characters and the story arcs, stupid headcanons that have nothing to do with the show, and hot takes that are not founded within the text. You see, all of this would be fine if not for one fact. I know I can't expect to not be spoiled going into these shows, okay? The Legend of Korra's last episode aired in 2015, I think? 2015? It's nearly 10 years on from that. And The Last Airbender aired years before that even. The first few episodes are for a fucking square monitor. But the thing is, in The Legend of Korra, there was one character who somehow, through some weave of fate, was completely unspoiled and undiscussed for me. And the fact that he wasn't spoiled makes me angry. I knew fucking everything about The Legend of Korra prior to me starting the first episode. I knew that she mastered air in the first season. I knew that she fought this guy Amon and he was a waterbender or something. I knew that she fought some dickhead named Unalak and that for the Avatar was actually Rava and Vatu and they were spirits or some bullshit. I knew that in the third season there was some asshole named Zahir who was an airbender and had lost his earthly tether. I knew fucking everything about this show. I knew Kuvira was a little gay for Korra. I knew Korra when Asami were gonna date. Not even Nickelodeon knew that one, but somehow Varrick did not get spoiled for me. And if you've seen The Legend of Korra, you'll know that that is insane because he's in most of the show. He's in 3/4 of the show. He shows up in the beginning of season 2 and he's in it for the rest of it. The rest of the run, Varrick is there. And it'll be one thing if this is just some random character. No, this is the main antagonist. This is the actual villain. Varrick is the actual villain of season 2 and potentially season 3 and onwards because his decisions that he makes in season 2 leads to every problem that we see henceforth. He is the reason for it. We want to talk about who gets an unwarranted redemption arc? It's fucking Varrick. That's who. You might be wondering, oh, what could one man possibly do that's so unwarranted, that's so villainous, that's so evil? I thought he was just a silly guy that says,
Julie, do the thing.
You're right, he does do that. But let's think back to what he actually does in season 2. In season 2, the main plot of the story revolves around this guy, Unalak, who is the northern tribe's current leader. He comes down to the southern tribe to help them in their spiritual festival or whatever, but subsequently performs a hostile takeover. Tensions are rising and he moves in his military force. The southern tribe is upset. Varrick is one such member of this upset water tribe, and so he, in one of the meetings, incites people into a riot/fight, thus sparking a small-scale war between the southern and water tribe. Varrick was the inciting incident for this. He caused the war between the south and the north. I don't know what you're saying. Didn't Unalak do that? Sure, but it probably would have only stayed a small-scale dispute if it was just between Unalak and the south. But no, Varrick incited it into a full-scale war. an actual revolt. Following this, he flees the war, flees to Republic City, where he'll find himself protected. Keep in mind, this whole time, Korra is naturally freaking out because her family are the Southerners. They are under assault, and she's naturally upset by this. She's like, what the fuck? Those are my peeps, my homies. They're getting attacked? Fuck that shit. And if this had happened then, the problem would have been solved. But no, it didn't. Why? Because the president of Republic City didn't allow troops to go and fight for the South. Why? Because he says that he doesn't want to get involved in foreign disputes. Why does that president exist? That's right, Varrick. Varrick is the one who paid for his fucking presidential campaign. If Varrick didn't pay for his presidential campaign, he wouldn't have been elected. But Varrick paid for him. That is a paid-off politician that has to abide by Varrick. But things don't go as planned, of course. So of course, because of Varrick's previous meddling, Kora no longer gets the support that she needs. So she goes herself to go and fight with the South against the North. Because fuck that shit. She's not letting that happen. Meanwhile, Asami, whose dad in the previous season was ousted for being a conspirator, Asami is brought in, and it's revealed that her company's not doing too well. She's getting, like, beaten out by other companies, and she needs to sell her, basically, giant mech war machines that was made by her father. She has no one to sell them to, though, because they were used by the previous evil faction. Varrick suggests selling them to him, or to the military, I think. I don't remember exactly who he suggested selling them to, but he suggested selling them. And you might think, well, isn't that a good thing? She gets to keep her company stays afloat. Yeah, would be true, if not for the fact that her shipments kept on getting stolen and attacked as they were transporting goods. But let's go back to something else, though. Korra hasn't exactly left the city yet, but there is a protest that is happening. The Southern Water Tribe residents of Republic City are making a protest against the North, going like the South has the right to govern their own people, and Republic City should do something about that, you know? Kind of bog standard protest. At this protest, there is a terrorist attack. A legit explosion. It happens. And Mako, who's like a cop, sees the guys who set off the explosion, and he runs and he sees the explosive device that was thrown, and he marks this down. He's like, this is weird. Why would firebenders attack a water tribe rally? So they hire a bunch of gang members to support them because the police aren't going to support this kind of a sting operation. Gang members go out with them on a boat to go and find who's attacking them. Mako overhears the gang members going, Varrick just said to watch the kids for a little bit. Keep him away from the warehouse while he does his business. You mean the warehouse that has all of Asami's stuff in it? They hear this, they go back, they sprint back to Republic City, find the warehouse. It's been fucking cleared out. It's been fucking cleared. It's been stolen. Everything. Mako's pissed. He's like, I know it's Varrick. He goes back to his room. The cops find him, see all of his shit, and go, oh my goodness, Mako, what's going on? There's been evidence planted in Mako's room that implicates him in the theft of all of Asami's goods. And that was all Varrick. And Varrick then goes on to buy Asami's company. For those who are not keeping track, Varrick suggested Asami sell her goods over a waterway that Varrick then bombed intentionally to steal the goods from those boats. And then the night that Mako went to go and catch the person bombing the boats with Asami, Varrick robbed the warehouse to leave Asami destitute so he can buy the mechs. This is corporate fraud and terrorism. And all of this is unforgivable. But you might be wondering, there's a character missing from this. That's right, Bolin. Bolin exists. And what's Bolin doing with Varrick? Varrick is making Bolin a movie star. At least that's what Tumblr told me. And TikTok told me. No, he's not becoming a movie star. He's becoming a propaganda star. Because Varrick is trying to make propaganda that implicates the North as the aggressors in the South versus North Water Tribe War. He is trying to drum up domestic support for the war with propaganda, with Bolin as the star. And then it's revealed that the person who blew up, because Mako eventually, I think prior to his little excursion with Asami where he gets chucked in prison, he went to go visit his brother on the scene of the Nuktuk Hero of the South set, which is a ridiculous name, and he sees that some of the explosives used in the set are the same as the ones that were used in the terrorist attack at the protest of the South versus the North. So Varrick tried to implicate the North in a terrorist attack against the South. by bombing a building. So, for those who are keeping track, Varrick tried to start a war by instigating a revolt in the south, coming back home, fleeing the country, making a series of propaganda films where Bolin was the star, bombing a peaceful protest of southerners versus the north in order to make it seem like the northerners were bombing innocents, stole all of Asami's gear, equipment, and company in order to fund his war effort to further pressure the public city into sending troops to the south, framed the only cop who was onto him for all of this and put him in jail. And you might think that was it. But no, because at the movie premiere of the last Nuktuk film, he tries to kidnap the president.
I don't think so.
He is so evil. Like, actually an irredeemable monster level villain. We're busy talking and debating the war crimes of Iroh. Why is nobody talking about Varrick? Is it just so obvious? Is that the thing? There's just nothing to talk about? But oh, I asked this of people who've watched the show, and they say it's because he gets a redemption arc in the 4th season. Nuh-uh. Nah-fucking-uh. Because at the end of the 2nd season, he doesn't do his time, he escapes. And then in the 3rd season, he's just working as like a scientist advisor. He just has a job, he just fled the country again. And in the 4th season, he's trying to make a clean energy source, then he ends up making a super weapon, and then because he doesn't plan on building more for Kuvira, that is his redemption arc? No! That's not a redemption arc. He needs to be in prison. He doesn't get pardoned just because he stopped the super weapon that his research partially funded. And I don't buy for a fucking second that he didn't think that it could be utilized for harm and for evil. He literally got the idea from Unavatu shooting a giant purple laser beam. Like, my guy. And then it ends up shooting a giant purple laser beam. Did you think that the giant purple laser beam technology would not make a giant purple laser beam? You dumb fuck. And if that's the case, he is criminally negligent. He literally accidentally invents a nuclear bomb, and I'm supposed to just pardon that? No! He's the villain of the whole series. Every problem ties back to him in Korra. From season 2 onward, he is the reason for it. Maybe not Zahir, that's a different thing. But season 2 and 4, it's Varrick. And why is no one talking about it? Oh, he gets to marry Julie at the end. Fuck you. I don't care that Julie forgives him. I fucking don't forgive him. He nearly caused a 2nd world war in season 2. Last time there was a world war in the Avatar verse, it went on for 100 years. If Korra hadn't stepped in, if he didn't get too big for his britches and try to kidnap the president, it probably would have. Been on for 100 years. Another war was on his hands, and we just forgave him at the drop of a hat because he's silly? Because he apologized for building the nuclear bomb? Fuck that shit. And somehow, this character...
We would do the chat again. I'm sorry.
All this to say... Varrick is the fucking villain, and I've seen nothing on him, ever. Not a think piece, not a poorly worded and poorly informed post about him. I haven't even seen people talking about his redemption arc. I haven't seen people mention him. It's like we all collectively forgot he existed. Is this a Mandela effect for you guys? Is me mentioning Varrick as this main antagonist shocking you guys from another world or something? I feel like I'm delusional. It's like if it'd be like if Fire Lord Ozai was just out of the first series. It's just confusing. I'm just confused. While Varrick is initially shown to be selfish, ruthless, and insane, he became a better person as the series went on, and eventually the good he did outweighs the bad. This is from the main fandom wiki! No, it didn't! It did not outweigh the bad! And look, he's a great character. He's one of my favorite characters from the show. I'm just surprised at the lack of conversation about him, you know? That's all. I got spoiled literally everything with the show, and somehow Varrick was not a mention, not a whisper, and it just surprised me. I guess is what I'm trying to say. But the thing is, the fact that there's nothing on this guy. The man who single-handedly propels the main plot of the second season is the cause of every major problem in the fourth season, and is one of the most morally interesting characters in the series. Not even a think piece on him. We're busy debating whether or not Aang or Korra was a better Avatar. We're having the wrong discussions, which is why I condemn you, Avatar fandom. Talk about Varrick more. He needs to pay penance for what he did. But that is all for today. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video ranting about Avatar. I don't know if it was a little all over the place, but we stuck the landing. So I hope you all have a great day. If you enjoy this style of video, please continue to watch. Please share with your friends. It really helps the channel out. And with all that being said, get the fuck out of my house.